not here to defend Hamas.
Well, you are.
No, I'm not defending Hamas.
Wait a minute.
Don't you ever lie on me like that, brother. I'm defending the suffering of Palestinians.
I want to hear
and Hamas itself committing war crimes.
I want to hear you say
anybody who commits war crimes are barbaric. I'm saying that explicitly, but I want you to say if the Israeli Defense Forces are killing children, are they barbaric too?
No.
Are they ever barbaric?
No.
And I'm saying to you, at the end, 1,300 people were brutally
2,000 people being killed on the other side.
Abused.
2,000 people have been killed on the other side.
I said that to the ambassador.
Okay, but do you condemn that, yes or no?
I don't think
so. You refuse to condemn?
No.
You do refuse to condemn?
Why are you putting words in my mouth?
Because you're not condemning it, are you?
What is wrong with you people? Why is this so difficult to just admit?
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Man, welcome back to another episode of Ruling Class Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi, back up in this witch with another video. Listen, if you're new to the show, please know we're thirsty to grow and to drink some of this warm water with lemon. You can help me out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to give you just a sec to do that. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers, man. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button for me. All right, thank you. Listen, I have a question. Let's say you know a guy. 40-year-old guy who lives in California. Let's say you live in California as well. Let's say this guy owes you money, right? He hasn't paid you back this money or whatever it is. Y'all had a falling out about money. Let's say you find out that this 40-year-old man who owes you money has a relative or a friend or a cousin or that's 20 years old, completely unrelated to that situation, that lives in Alabama somewhere, right? You decide to go to Alabama and set this person's apartment on fire, right? Or set this person's car on fire, this 20-year-old college student, because this person that they know that live in California owes you money. I think everybody would agree that that's wrong, right? Why am I talking about that? Why did I make that scenario here? Because the war right now that's happening, as I'm sure we've all seen, between Israel and the Palestinians, I'm not on here to talk like I'm an expert on this. In fact, I didn't even want to make a video on it. Right? It's not that I don't care about it, but it's not really related to my life. And not that I don't care about what happens to people, which is actually the reason I'm making this video, because I do care about what happened to innocent people. It's just that I think we have enough in America to focus on, especially in Black America. And I don't want to be one of those people who just hop on topics just because it's trendy, right? Because those are real lives that's happening over there. There are some universal laws that you don't have to know the entire context of a situation to be able to stick with that universal law. So in other words, the unaliving of innocent people, the unaliving of children, right? I don't think we have to know the entire history of something to agree that unaliving children, unaliving innocent men and women, because people always like to say women and children as if innocent men, their lives aren't important as well. But innocent people, including men, women, and children that have absolutely nothing to do with what your fight is about, I think we can all agree that wrong is wrong. I don't care whose side that it's on. Now, if you're like me, you don't know all the history, all the details of what this war is about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read just a quick summary about what's happening over there. And I'm going to get to the video clip that I'm really here to talk about. All right, so the conflict between Israel and Palestine has its roots in complex historical and geopolitical factors. It involves Israel or Israeli demands for security and a homeland, while Palestinians seek a state of their own. The conflict began with the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, leading to the displacement of Palestinians, which they refer to as Nakba. Over the years, there have been major wars and conflicts such as the 1967 Six-Day War, 1973 Yom Kippur War, if I'm pronouncing this, please forgive me, Israel's invasion of Lebanon in 1982, and multiple conflicts in Gaza. Efforts have been made to achieve peace through treaties like the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty and the Oslo Accords, but a final resolution remains elusive. Key issues include the two-state solution, Israeli settlements in occupied territories, the state of Jerusalem, and the Palestine refugee question. Achieving lasting peace in the region is a complex challenge with a deep historical and political dimensions, right? It says, Hamas fighters have unalived more than 800 Israelis in assaults on multiple towns in southern Israel. In response, Israel has launched a bombing campaign in the Gaza Strip, unaliving more than 500 Palestinians. It has mobilized troops along the Gaza border, apparently in preparation for a ground attack. And on Monday, it announced a quote-unquote total blockade of the Gaza Strip, stopping the supply of food, fuel, and other essential commodities to the already besieged enclave, and an act that under international law amounts to a war crime, right? So, in other words, there's this big war that's happening right now, and I've watched a couple of clips here and there of people debating this, but I know wrong is wrong. Well, I want you to watch this debate between Dr. Cornel West and this other guy. I believe his name is Alan Dershowitz, right? I believe they're both professors, and they had a debate on Fox News. I want you to take a look at this debate, some of the things that were said, and some of the things, most importantly, that was not said.
Thank you. We'll check back in with him throughout the evening time. First, left-wing bigotry, anti-Semitism running rampant on university campuses around the world, London, Australia. What's happening? Chanting in Australia, about gas chambers and, for Jewish people. What is happening on our college campuses? What is happening among the Democratic Party? Some Harvard students now are scrambling to finally rescind their support of their vile letter, actually blaming the victim, Israel, for the brutal Hamas terror attacks. Not everyone disagrees with them. 2024 presidential candidate, former Harvard professor Cornel West said the students were largely right, but they lack nuance. He joins us now with reaction, along with attorney, also Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz is with us. Thank you both for being with us.
So if you notice already, he's politicizing the situation, and of course there's politics that's at stake here, but we're just talking about lives, bro. People are losing their lives. But if you notice that the host here is already making this a left-wing thing, right? That's first. The next thing I want you to pay attention to is how he grouped these two people together. This makes for great ratings. You have Dr. Cornel West, right? A former Harvard professor who just happens to be a black man. And here you have Alan Dershowitz, right? Who I'm assuming is a professor who's Jewish.
You always call me Brother Sean. I call you Brother Cornel. I'm not that happy with you tonight.
That says a lot about you. If a person disagrees with you on something, you're not willing to call them brother anymore. That says a lot about you.
Stan, we could talk about why we...
Because we have 31 groups from Harvard. Harvard's supposed to be, I always thought, the top of the top. To get into Harvard, what an accomplishment, what an achievement, what academic excellence you must show, a cut above everyone else. And 31 student groups blaming Israel, blaming the victim. And your answer to this is they are largely right? Hamas that murdered children? Hamas that murdered innocent people?
Read the rest of what I said, though, brother.
Okay.
Read the rest of what I
they
said.
are largely right, but lacking nuance.
No, I didn't say lack nuance. That's the title of the piece.
Okay.
My actual words were, I'll just be very honest.
I got it here in front of me.
The words too, brother. The words were that Israel's policies of war crimes and collective punishment against Palestinians
I'll read
set
it
a
to you.
context.
Israel and the United
and
States
Hamas
are
must take
primarily
responsibility
responsible.
for innocent people. Anybody who kills innocent people are engaging in barbaric acts.
You said
no matter
Israel,
who they
hang
are,
on,
what color, what nation, and so forth.
Israel and the United States are primarily
And the United States has
responsible.
supported and enabled.
You explain to this audience. I want you to.
He won't even let the man talk. If you notice this, all three news channels, if you watch any news channel that have debate, it's one thing they have in common, all of them. When a person disagrees with them, they just interrupts him. They just cuts him off. Like, let the man talk. He can't even get his words out. Like, this tactic is so outplayed, bro. We see what you're doing. Let the man talk.
Explain. How is Israel and the United States responsible for beheading 40 children? How?
I'm talking about the context. 545 Palestinian children died in August 2004. Not one American said a word. I believe a Palestinian baby has the same value as an Israeli baby. So when you have that kind of vicious hatred and revenge, you get response of hatred and revenge. They are all wrong. They're all war crimes. They're all to be condemned. But you cannot simply look at this particular moment without the larger backdrop of an ugly occupation and the ugly attacks chronically against Palestinians.
So if you don't understand what he just said, so basically Dr. Cornel West is making the argument. Listen, I'm not taking a side on one or the other. What I'm saying is the innocent lives being taken, people unaliving citizens that have absolutely nothing to do with the war is wrong. It doesn't matter who's doing it. It doesn't matter who started it. You should not go out and unalive people that have nothing to do with it. You should not unalive children. You should not unalive women that have nothing to do with this war. You should go and see the people that you have a problem with. What's the issue here? Why don't everybody on that panel agree with what the man is saying, right? Is that not universal law? Why would you unalive a person that has nothing to do with what you're, right, the person you have a conflict with? What's the issue here? I want you to take a listen to the response. You're going to notice that nobody ever condemns the unaliving of innocent children as it pertains to Palestinians. They're only going to talk about those that are Jewish or those from Israel. They're going to defend those people, but they're not going to say children that are Palestinian should not have had their lives taken either. Pay close attention.
Your words, largely right. Israel and the United States are primarily responsible for this attack. Professor Dershowitz.
Well, I complained when Palestinian children were killed, but I explained why they were killed. Here is one of the leaders of Hamas. For the Palestinian people, death has become an industry. The elderly excel at this, and so do the children. This is why we have formed human shields of the women and the children. Hamas is the ones responsible for the killing of Palestinian children. Also, Hamas has a term. It's called the CNN strategy. And the CNN strategy is induce Israel into killing Palestinian children by using them as human shields. Then parade the bodies out on CNN, and you'll see what happens. People like Cornel West will engage in crocodile tears, blame it on Israel, when the entire blame is on the Palestinians, Hamas, for using their children as human shields, and then using their children as shields to permit the killing of Israeli children.
What is Hamas's charter?
I have the same outrage when Palestinian babies are when
It
Jewish
shouldn't
babies
be
or
the
Israeli
same
babies. I want
outrage.
you to have the same indignation when Palestinians are
Not when they're
That's
killed. Not when they're
consistent.
killed by Palestinians. When you can't make
Where's
a
the
moral
common humanity?
comparison. When Nazi kids were killed in the bombings of Dresden, I didn't have the same comparison when Jewish kids were put in gas chambers and crematoriums. You're a professor of theology. Don't you understand the moral difference between deliberately murdering a kid and having collateral damage because there are human shields? You're running for president of the United States. What would you do? Let me ask the question.
Okay.
What would you do if terrorists were firing at American children in America and the terrorists were hiding behind Palestinian children? Would you allow the of Americans to continue, or would you go and get the terrorists, even if it meant possibly collateral damage on Palestinians? What would you do?
I'll tell you exactly what I would do. First, truth and morality tend to be two casualties in any context of war. I would want to tell the American people the truth. I would tell them what the context is, how we found ourselves in this situation. I would not jump for a military invasion and a genocidal attack on a
genocidal attack.
This man, so if you notice, Alan Dershowitz made his point. There was no interruptions. The host said nothing. Dr. Cornel West is speaking again, and here comes all the interruptions. What are we doing here, bro?
On Gaza.
No, it's not a genocidal
where are they supposed to go?
When you're
where are they
killing
supposed to go? Bro, this is like Warsaw, 1943. Where do they go?
Where do they go?
Yes.
Let me tell you where they go. They go to the UN. UN is keeping
from Gaza to Geneva?
They go to no. The UN has places in Gaza. They go to the Rafah crossing.
UN people have been in the last few days.
They go to Egypt. They go.
Egypt, how they
wait
can't
a minute.
get out.
Let
Come
me
on,
make
brother.
another thing clear. Gaza City is very dense. But Gaza itself, the Gaza Strip, there's lots of room. The Israelis have said, get out of Gaza City. Go to Rafah. Go to Khan Yunis. Go to other places. And you know what Hamas
With
is
no
saying?
water, no
Wait
food,
a minute.
no electricity,
You know what
all in
Hamas
the
is
dark?
saying? Hamas is saying, don't go.
Oh, I'm not here to
Don't
defend
go.
Hamas.
Well, you
Hamas.
are
No,
here.
I'm not defending Hamas.
Wait a
Don't
minute.
you ever lie on me
Did
like
you
that, brother.
ever-
I'm defending the suffering of Palestinians.
I want to hear how.
Hamas
I
itself
wanna
committing
hear-
war crimes.
I want to hear you say.
Anybody who commits war crimes are barbaric. I'm saying that explicitly, but I want you to say if the Israeli Defense Forces are killing children,
No.
are they barbaric too?
No.
Are they ever barbaric?
No. If they target children.
Yes. Have they ever targeted
No,
children? They have
absolutely
never
never in the history
78 years.
have they ever targeted
brother,
a child
you got to get off the
deliberately.
crack pipe, man, please.
No, they
Please.
have never
You don't
targeted
think they
a child.
killed one innocent
not
person?
purposely.
Since
no.
1948?
No, not
Are they that
purposely.
pure? Are they that
You don't have to be
pristine?
very
Come
pure
on, brother.
not to kill a child. Not to kill a child.
Let me
See, first of all, this is what you call the ultimate victim. Black Americans a lot of times are accused of always playing the race card, always playing victims, but we got to call it like we see it. You learn who controls, who rules over you. You've heard it. Once you realize who it is that you really can't criticize. And it irritates me because when you listen to this, even though Alan Dershowitz made a great point, he was saying that the reason why children were unalived was because the Palestinians were apparently using their children as human shields, right? Is that the only reason that children were unalived, right? And the point that Dr. Cornel West was making was, what about the part that you're not saying, right? What about the historical context? Well, there are other times where children were unalived. This man just sat there and said, no. How do you even know that? Another question I have is, I need to be educated. I've been saying this for the last 2 years. One of the biggest videos on my channel that helped my channel grow was a video about Kyrie Irving and the whole anti-Semitism situation. And I'm still trying to understand, how come anytime a group of people are blamed for something, or a person is blamed for something, and they happen to be Jewish, or there are Jewish members within that community or within that group, anti-Semitism is always yelled? I'm confused here. What if that individual or those group of people are just wrong for that particular thing? Why is it always anti-Semitism that's yelled or screamed as a defense mechanism whenever somebody is blamed for something on that side? I'm still confused about that. I need somebody to hop in the comment section and educate me on this. Why is it so hard to just say, I don't care what side is on, it's wrong if children are unalived? It's so difficult. My last video was on Ben Shapiro, and the same thing happened with Ben Shapiro. He would not say that it was wrong, right? We had this guy who went over onto the Piers Morgan show and tried to get Piers Morgan to admit the same thing. He wouldn't say it.
1,300 people were brutally
2,000
murdered,
people have been killed on the other side.
abused.
2,000 people have been killed on the
I
other
said
side.
that to the ambassador.
Okay, but do you condemn that, yes or no?
I don't think
So you refuse to condemn?
No.
You do refuse to
Why are
condemn?
you putting words in my mouth?
Because you're not condemning it, are you?
What do you want me to condemn?
Condemn?
Israel's
Okay,
right.
excellent. What do I want you to condemn?
Yes.
I want you to condemn the fact that the IDF, knowing that it's more probable than not, pressing buttons from the sky, killing innocent civilians, 1,000 of them children, that is a war crime and that is not acceptable morally. Just like you condemn the other one. Is it condemnable or
I
not?
believe, given the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th,
Go ahead,
Israel is entitled to
children.
No, that's not what I said.
Go ahead.
They're entitled to defend themselves with force.
He wouldn't admit it. He kept double talking and going around the answer. Why is it so hard to just admit that it's wrong to unalive innocent people? What the heck am I missing here? Y'all hop in the comment section. Give me y'all thoughts on this situation, man. This is mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah, Diddy got a podcast.